What's up YouTube, welcome to the channel. So in this video we are going to be answering a question that one of our subscribers have asked about. Have you got any tips for plasterboarding a ceiling while on your own? Now we actually got asked this question a while ago, and the reason why we've ducked this question for quite some time is that even though I do plasterboard ceilings on my own, there's nothing glamorous about it. It is just hard work, it's hard graft, and invariably you look like a bit of a wally on the videos because you're just struggling the whole way through, which is why we haven't really covered this subject. However, the time has come where I thought, do you know what, I am just going to tackle this subject and we'll just see how we go. Now, when it comes to plasterboarding a ceiling, generally what we usually do is use 3/4 boards. So in the United Kingdom, the standard boards that we have are 8 foot by 4 foot, and I think it's 6 foot by 3 foot. So often if I'm overboarding, I'll use 6 by 3s. However, this garage conversion here, it's all new work, so I'm actually using 8 by 4 boards. So I'm making my life harder. So that said, how am I going to board this ceiling on my own? Now you see in a second, I've already started half the ceiling already. Now, I'm not the strongest man in the world, I'm not the biggest guy in the world. Certainly as far as plasters goes, I'm a pretty small guy, so it is hard work. That said, there is a method that we use to make our life easier. Now we do have props, possibly you'll see in the shot in a second, we do have those extendable props etc, but we don't generally use them all that often. The tool that we actually use is something that I came across on Amazon a few years ago, and by far and away there are lots of little gimmicky DIY tools you can get for dry lining to make your life a bit easier. We've tried a lot of them, most of them are junk. I wasn't holding out much hope for this tool either when I bought it a few years ago, especially as it was quite cheap. I think when I bought them they were about maybe £5, £6, £7 in the United Kingdom, so they're very, very cheap. But as the saying goes, simple is usually best, and this is no different in this case. And the tool that we use to help make our life easier when we're boarding are these things here. You may have seen them before. I think they're called a board mate, something like that. And these are literally just plastic shims that you screw up against the board to help slide the board in to hold it in place. Now what I do is I've got a small bit of board just here which I'm going to use to demonstrate these. So you can see here I've started boarding halfway through the ceiling. Now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to just board this section here. Now this is where these shims come into play. Now what we do is that we use a slightly longer screw, so I'm going to use a 50mm screw, and then all I do is just prop the shim up against the edge of the board that's already fixed, and then just screw that in like so. I'm not looking to screw this up so tight that it crushes the board, because what you can find if you screw it too tight, it just tips the shim ever so slightly and it makes life a little bit harder getting the board in. And then I'll do the other side as well. I'm quite fortunate on this ceiling. The builders that have done the garage conversion, they've put OSB board over the joists. We're still trying to hit the joist the best we can. Yeah, we're still trying to hit the joist the best we can, but it's not a big deal if we miss. So you can see here, those shims are now in place. So this is the bit where I'm going to probably look like a bit of a floundering duck, as I'm going to try and lift the board up, wedge it in place. Obviously I want it as flush as I can to the sky lantern here, and I'm hoping that these shims will just hold the weight to make my life a little bit easier. So we're just going to lift it straight over the head, like so, and we just slide them in. And the nice thing about the shims, I can literally be holding the edge of the other far side, and it's holding those shims nicely in place. Like so. So this board's now in place, and all I'm going to do is just remove those shims. And there we have it, the shims are down now. What I can now do is just go over and screw this board in, but you can see, even just trying to line it up here, it just acts like that extra hand, as it were, just to take the weight of that board. I know what you're thinking though. What you want to see is these shims being used on a full board. So I'm going to struggle on my own, and I'm going to show you how effective they are putting these 8x4 boards up on your Tote, just using these plastic shims. Okay, so you've got to be kind to me, because I am not the strongest guy in the world. It was hard enough just bringing the board over to the hop up. So what I'm going to do, fingers crossed, is I'm going to lift the board above my head, slide it into the shims and screw the board up. Whew! I'm tired already. Ta-da! It was that easy. Whew. Now, if you're telling me for £7 that isn't really helpful, I don't know what it is. As I said, simplest things are usually the best. 100% recommend those plastic shims for overboarding the ceiling. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep moving them along, slide up, screw in, etc. So massive thumbs up for, I think it's Boardmate that make those. They are brilliant, makes life so much easier when you're overboarding the ceiling. So if this has been helpful to you, give us a thumbs up, consider subscribing. We look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks again.